I paid 4 credit cards every month. I kept track of every due date, paid more than the minimum, never missed a payment, and believe I was being responsible. But there was one thing I never did. I never added what I owe across the 4 cards. Not because I was lazy, because part of me didn't want to know. Keeping those balances separate allowed me to avoid the one number I was afraid to see. In this video, I'll show you how I manage every payment without ever seeing my complete financial picture. Why that made me feel as though I was making progress. And what happened when I finally put everything on paper. For years, I paid whichever bill was closest to its due date. I got paid twice a month, and each time I was paid, I look at what was due next and keep the rest of the numbers in my head. When I open a credit card statement, I look at the exactly 3 things: the balance, the minimum payment, and the due date. That's it. If I had an extra $200, I split it across 4 cards. 50 here, 50 there, because sending something extra to every card at once felt like the responsible thing to do. But I never added the 4 balances together. Here's the part I didn't say out loud back then. I avoided adding up the balances because I was afraid of what the total would look like. My parents never carry credit card debt. Not once. They didn't even have credit cards. I grew up believing that was simple how responsible adults handle money. Somewhere along the way, I decided that having debt meant something was wrong with me, that I had been careless with money I should have managed better. So I did what a lot of people do without even realizing they are doing it. I managed the pieces. I managed the due date, the minimum payments, and the 4 separate 50 payments. This is what I did. Separate. I sent the money to one card 1 month, then the next month I use a different card, and then the next month I use a different card. But never look at the whole picture. As long as I kept the numbers scattered in my head and on 4 different statements, I never had to face one uncomfortable total. I also believe my mental math was accurate. I thought keeping a written record was for people whose finances were more complicated or who had more money to manage. Not me. But the truth was that keeping everything in my head allowed me to avoid the number I was afraid to see. When I finally sat down and put everything on paper, those 4 separate balances became one number, and the number was $25,000. That was the moment I understood the difference between keeping up with payments. I was keeping up with payments and actually seeing my debt. I had spent years managing due dates, minimum payments, and 4 scattered $50 payments without ever seeing the actual number. Those payments were supposed to reduce the debt. I was paying every card. I was sending more than the minimum. I believed I was doing the responsible thing. But because I had never put the full $25,000 in front of me, I couldn't see whether the way I was paying it was creating meaningful progress. If you have never added up what you owe across everything, every card and every balance, ask yourself why you're not doing that. Sometimes it isn't because you don't have the time. Sometimes part of you already suspects what the answer might be, and it feels safer not to know. But avoiding the number doesn't make it smaller. It only keeps you from seeing what you are actually working with. You don't have to feel ready to look. You just have to look. That is where I can help. If you are not sure how to start adding everything up, comment the word numbers and I'll walk you through exactly how I did it. And notice that here, if you just send the same amount of money to one card, this is going to show you more progress. Thank you.